Welcome to our Rolemaster Actual play session. Ain't no place for a hero is a campaign set in the world of Duranarki, the continent of men. A gritty, cutthroat world where politics, sorcery, religion, and commerce are all intertwined and reign supreme. Treachery and murder both come cheap, and characters need to be both smart and ruthless to survive. We hope you enjoy our story, and, as always, may the dice roll in your favor. This is episode 120 of Ain't No Place for a Hero. The party have decided that ensuring their friend Karios is revived and healed is their first priority, and have just completed this goal. We pick up the story back in the dismal swamp city of Landania, just as Karios awakens after having been slain 3 weeks ago on Jewel Island. Hello, I'm Chris, otherwise known as GM Chance, and welcome to our story. That story is Ain't No Place for a Hero. And speaking of heroes, here they are, all 8 of them in their glory. These are the characters in our game that will delight, enthrall, titillate, and otherwise entrance you in our session tonight. In a second or so, as per usual, we'll switch to a pre-recording of players introducing their characters, and then a little bit after that, we'll go to a character development question, just to flesh things out a little bit more for each character. We spend a bit of time in our games doing this, and I've had a couple of questions from a couple of viewers saying, why do we spend quite as long? My thinking around this is all about a story, and it's all about characters in the story. So the more that we get to know these characters, and then also a bit by kind of at the same time, get to know the players of those characters, perhaps the more richer the story becomes. Before we turn to the recording, my habitual, I do it every single session, but it is absolutely sincerely meant. Thanks to our subscribers, supporters, people that provide comments or insights or suggestions or whatever. And tonight's 3 new players to name. So a very, very warm welcome to our channel, to Hans Kissel, Rodney Gott, and then lastly to Ed Hart. To all 3 of you, delighted to have you on board. Thank you for taking the time to click the wee button down below, and really hope you continue to enjoy the stories that we collectively tell. What we would say to anybody else that perhaps has come across our game previously, or maybe you're watching this for the first time, and you're enjoying what you're seeing, and you're enjoying, you're just enjoying the tale and how we tell it, we really would like either a like down below, or even better, a subscribe. Every subscriber we get, every like we get, feeds the machine, tells the algorithm that people are interested, and that in turn helps other people like you find our story. Thanks very much. All right, as mentioned before, turning to a pre-recording of players introducing the characters. In the beginning of that recording starts with Mason. Mason, the floor is yours.
Kia ora, I'm Mason, and for this episode I'm playing Demos. He's a very attractive, very hunky, very buff mixed man. Really great with his spear and shield, and he can whip out some swords if he needs to. He's not the most intelligent person, but he makes up for it with a lot of kindness, a lot of gentleness, except for when he's fighting. And he's been with the party for a little while, has thoroughly enjoyed his time with them, is very much looking forward to saving the world. And on the side, he is looking and hoping to find his long-lost sister that was kidnapped a long, long time ago.
Hi, I'm Pete, and in this episode I'll be playing Leif. Leif is a half-elf warrior mage, which means he uses weapons as well as magic. He's a friendly fellow, very empathetic, and a really kind member of the party.
Kia ora, I'm Alex, and for this episode I'm playing Karios. Karios is a young North woman. She's a weather mage, a pretty powerful weather mage with some very cool spells. She's quite sweet and kind, a bit emotionally labile, but wears a heart on her sleeve and a strong moral compass. She also has a companion, a cat called Victory, who's a very important member of the party, and Victory was rescued, there's Victory, a wee while ago from impending doom.
Hi, my name's Giles, and for this episode I'm playing Tarquin. So Tarquin is a young, ridiculously good-looking half-elf. And during his early life and adolescence, he's been well-trained in the gentle arts of thievery, charming others using his remarkably good looks, and of course, violence. He is in his own way a religious man, and he's out looking for some understanding as to what's happened to his homelands.
Hi, I'm Graham. I play Nyathonal Sherakir. She is a Magent, which is a mix of stealthy skills, fighting skills, and magic skills, mentalism, magic of the mind. She is a complex character, something of a religious fundamentalist who believes in assassination as a sacred endeavour. She keeps that well hidden, however. She is, however, a dab hand with a short sword and uses her magic and sneaky ability to good use in sneaking up on her adversaries.
Hi, I'm Aidan and I'm playing Grey. Grey is a very handsome half-elf who doesn't really believe in wearing shirts. He's constantly just displaying his body all the time, which, you know, he's got it, so he's flaunting it. He's got a bit of a tragic backstory. Pretty much everyone he's ever really cared about has been murdered brutally, but despite that, he's still a lovely guy. He's very caring, cares a lot about his teammates and also animals, loves animals, as he is a beastmaster, so he has the power to kind of, I don't know, not control, well, he can control animals, but he can also kind of interact with them and understand them and get them to help him do what he needs to do. When he's not using his magic, he is a bit of a dab hand with an axe. He is very good at chopping things, chopping enemies, and also good with a little bit of stabby and a crossbow as well. He has a bird called Wingy that is his best friend that needs to have a bit more of a story, I guess. She'll come into it a bit more like down the road, I think. Yeah, that's great.
Kia ora, I'm Pete, and I'll be playing Mithan in this episode. Mithan is a ranger. She is a high man. She's pretty good at outdoor skills, and she's a pretty good archer. She's not a people person. She doesn't really care about people's feelings, although she's beginning to in this party.
Hello, I'm Graham. I play Etienne Gilderflower. He is a genitrist, which is a type of paladin or holy warrior. He follows the teachings of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and he believes that her will leads him on, and he makes decisions based on the dreams he receives or thinks he receives from his goddess. He has joined the party on a mission to, as he understands it, to save the old order, the world as they know it. He is a very charming, very good-looking man, a very eccentric man, speaks in riddles and rhymes most of the time. but he believes in a higher purpose. He's a very dab hand with a sword, usually found in full plate.
And there we go. Hopefully those 8 faces up on screen mean a bit more to you now. They perhaps are a bit more fleshed out, a little bit more insight into who each one of those characters is. As mentioned before we went to the pre-recording, we play on a Wednesday night typically, and as we are tonight. And earlier in the week, I sent out either some character development questions, or I've been asking recently people to send through either an image about their character's background, or basically a bit of text about their background, or whatever. And the purpose of that is to help us understand the characters a little bit more. And tonight, we're starting off with Aiden. Aiden, take it away, please.
Hello. I'm going to answer a question. The question I'll answer is, in terms of values, would you say your character is more progressive, liberal in their views, or middle of the road, or conservative, traditional? I'd say Gray's pretty libertarian. He doesn't really believe in big government or anything like that. He's, I'd say socially, he's probably just live and let live. And in terms of like fiscal spending, I don't know. He loves shiny, so he's probably all for keeping that money. He believes in just the law of the jungle, of nature, in terms of like government. He doesn't really care about, politicians or what they have to say.
Excellent.
Yep.
Makes sense. So, does he believe in the alpha male, the alpha female?
Ooh. Don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you. Who would you like to hear from next?
I'd love to hear from Demos.
Oh, am I off? Yeah, hello. I think I'll answer the same question for Demos. So I'd say he's probably more liberal in his views as well, but he's always been kind of in very conservative-ish type of areas, so he's got very liberal views, but he's kind of been raised and lived in quite conservative areas, so he's never been able to really voice those opinions, or he's had to kind of keep them to himself because he's always had kind of a chain of command to follow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And he has definitely worked for some authoritarian.
Yeah, some
bigoted.
pretty terrible people.
Yeah.
Some not so nice people. But he's tried to, kind of not necessarily follow the laws and his orders, but trying to take a more gentle approach to it, I guess.
Nice one. Excellent. Thank you. Who's next?
I'll pass over to Pete.
Mason. And I'm going to be answering the same question as well for both Leif and the fan. So for Leif, he didn't come from a very rich family. He is definitely a social creature. He is definitely liberal. He doesn't always take an interest in politics or sort of government's policies and things like that, but he was absolutely not unfamiliar with standing up to the man when needed. There was a sort of popular uprising, or if there were grumbles in the city about the way that things were being run, he would be on board with that. As for Miss Anne, she came from a small town, quite a reasonably well-off family. Definitely conservative values there. She doesn't care about certain things about in the world, including some politics. Well, she doesn't particularly concern herself with things outside of herself, particularly, unless it's academics. It's academic research, yes. But in terms of political views and sort of the way society should be, she does believe in people being just who they are, and just she wants to do what she does, and everyone else should be doing the same thing, sort of thing. So I suppose that's quite a liberal way of thinking. but I suppose her core, the values she was raised with were conservative. So that would be her go-to. But if she was stop and think about it, then she would go for being more liberal, I would say.
Got it.
If it makes sense.
Yep, got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
And that leaves Alex.
It
please.
does. It does.
Kia ora. I did laugh out loud when I saw that first question. Is there a minor medical ailment or annoyance that your character suffers from? I won't be answering. Yeah, there's a few.
Karios doesn't have dandruff?
She's got a few other issues.
Just one or two.
Dandruff is not of concern for her. But I'm not going to answer that. I'm going to answer, if your character could only eat one meal for the rest of their life, what would it be and why that meal? So at this stage of the game, Karios is not fussed about what she eats, just delighted that she gets to eat. Mm-hmm. But what I would say, I think that she would always have something, will always try and have access to milk and some little meaty treats for victory. So whether that's ordered as part of her meal, even though she's vegetarian, or whether she just has it on her. And she would also be looking to have access to ale or wine or, something that Grey might enjoy sharing. So, she's quite philosophical. I mean, she's been to, I don't know if she's been to hell, who knows where she's been, but she's been somewhere and back. So we might see a marked change in her kind of, she was a wee little uptight before, bless her. She's not bothered, really, at this stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Excellent, thank you. And maybe another time we'll find out if she has dandruff. Okay, so there were some other faces. There are some other faces up on the screen. Just very, very quickly, Giles, who plays Tarquin, is not joining us for the session. As the GM, I might throw a couple of comments in about Tarquin, as and when appropriate. And also Graham, who plays both Etienne and Neathanol, is not joining us tonight. Mason, you're very kindly picking up Neathanol, thank you. And Aidan, you're picking up our one-handed lover boy Etienne. Thanks very much. Excellent. So, gentle viewer and gentle listener, that's the team. That's the party. That's who they are. And I've got the wrong channel up. There we go. It's a better channel. Those are indeed our heroes. Fully named, fully known. Hopefully you've got a bit more of a sense of both the players behind those characters and indeed the characters themselves. Brilliant. As per usual, now is the time I turn over to Pete, who has both an amazing memory and also keeps very, very good notes, to provide a bit of an update of where things happened in last session. It's about 2 weeks ago, and obviously if others want to jump in and help Pete out, that would be appreciated. Pete, take it away, please.
Thank you. So, the last session began with us in Kel Taimun, and I believe we'd sort of just had Karios re-lifed, but she wasn't re-conscious. That's the way of putting it. So we just completed Lady Safina had just completed the spells that had restored her heart and lungs, and had applied the herb that brought her back to life. So last session we continued our discussion with Lady Safina about if she was available to heal Karios' stats to sort of return her to fulfilling life rather than being extremely limited. And she had a couple of options of meeting, of looking for a herb, a listigii, or a gem rather, that would to do that, and trying to source that, and also suggesting a priest of Geron, a death priest, Ulrich of Mandos. She suggested could be perhaps a potential person to cast the appropriate spell. We were aware that we were running short on funds, so we were trying to buy our healing herb, which was the life-giving herb Trifera. She didn't want to buy it, but we also wanted to investigate other people who would want to, other herbalists who would be willing to buy that. We were going to have a meeting with her the following day. That night, my notes say that Etienne had some company. He met a woman called Helga, and they had a lovely night together, I believe. The following day, or I can't remember if it was the same afternoon, we did visit some other herbalists to try and find a buyer, and eventually we were able to sell our Trifera, our pretty rare life-giving healing herb, for 4,250 GP. So we were pretty pleased with that. She was going to want us to buy it from her for 5,000. So, we're not bargainers. We got I think we got an all right rate for it. The following day, we met up with the Death Priest, Ulrich of Mandos, and his. Not only was he creepy, bad vibe from him. We also, from our calculations, we decided that perhaps he was going to be overpriced for what he was able to provide. We had an offer of stat healing spells back in Landania, and that looks. I think they were considerably cheaper. What was going to be considerably cheaper to go back there to get Karios' stats healed. So that's in fact what we did. We reverse coursed using the connections we had through the Mon Men, or our benefactors, via I can't remember his name.
By who? Sorry, Pete. I missed
The
that.
city. I've got it written here somewhere. Hathel, thank you. Back to Landania via Navigator Stones, and back staying with our host Myrna, back in the same house, I believe.
Yeah,
I
here we
actually
go.
don't remember if I noted that.
So that's your. Oops, hang on. That is your host, and yes, you arrive back in the quite dismal streets, swampy streets of Landania. They have suffered an earthquake some 15 or so days before you left. They are looking a little bit better than this. But yes, you're back in Landania. And indeed, you have gone back to exactly the same place that you were previously. This should look familiar to for viewers who have watched our channel before.
Riot house, and there was we went and visited Tarquin and Nathan, I believe. Or was it the whole party? I think it might have been the whole party, in fact. Went and visited Adeline, the High Priest of Hera, who was the person we had healing advice from before, or she is the one who reserved Karios' body. And we were a little bit daunted to find the price had gone up by 15% due to one of her, I can't remember that lady's name. Janet. Was it Janet?
Sister Michelle.
Oh, Michelle, sorry, Janet was another one. So Sister Michelle had a run-in with Tarquin, and Michelle was sort of wasn't pleased with the way that things had turned out. So the price has increased by 15%. Still, we it did ask Adeline to do the stat regain, and that was what happened, I believe. Karios is not quite back to what she was, but she's a lot more functional, I believe, in terms of, she's regained her empathy and her strength and her agility and things. I think that's pretty much where we left it, with basically Karios waking up for the first time in however many weeks or days. And I was wondering, Karios, did you want to give us the first three words that you said, if you wouldn't mind?
So I woke up and I said, victory, life, great.
With a question. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. And I was going to do much the same. Lovely. Great narration. As always, thanks, Pete. And nicely handed over to Karios. A couple of last words from me. Just a heads up to viewers and also to players. I will sometimes, not always, but sometimes go along with providing a few images in the background of the recap and what you've seen and experienced. I'm having tech problems, unfortunately, with my computer. I'm soon to buy another computer, and I'm just playing it rather safe, so hence was the reason me not sharing images. And just as a heads up, as we did in the Twilight game on Sunday, the computer crashed, so hopefully that doesn't happen tonight. So the new computer can't come fast enough. That was the first minor point. Couple of other things to note. So you are indeed back in the safe house. That's where you've returned. We begin the campaign, or sorry, we begin the session on Year's End Eve. So the 29th of the month of Year's End. The next day is Year's End Day, and this is, for all of you and all of the cultures that your characters are from, this is a very sinister and frankly evil day. You did experience another day last month called the Festival of Cold Moons, which the elves actually don't mind so much, but certainly human civilizations in this world find very unpleasant. But this day that's coming up tomorrow, Year's End's Day, is a very, very sinister day. Why is it a sinister day? Specifically, if the Festival of Cold Moons is a dire time, Year's End is worse. It's considered wholly unlucky day with no redeeming value, as the luck and the goodness of all the year has all been used up. No marriages and celebrations, no meetings are ever scheduled for Year's End Day. The vast majority of people stay at home. People just don't go out. You don't want to go out in case something happens and you bring down the curse of the gods on you. It's a very, very sinister day. So Karios has been revived the evening before on the 29th, and you'll hear in the background, you're actually in a city, but there isn't the normal buzz and hum of people because people aren't out. The streets, and even as you carried Karios's at that stage unconscious body back to the safe house that you can see on the screen, Karios subsequently woke up back in the safe house. It was the crowds were really thinning out. There were very, very few people back on the street. So Myrna has escorted you back here. She very promptly leaves, and with a hurried goodbye, and she tells you that she won't be visiting you tomorrow. She explains she won't be dropping off supplies for obvious reasons, but she will see you the day after, which is New Year's Day, the first day of the year, and that is definitely a much more positive day that brings joy and jubilation, etc. to people. That's the first thing to comment on. The one last piece of follow-up from me, going back to High Priestess Aveline. We did end up rushing the session a little bit last time because it was I think we were all keen to get Karios back to saying a few words. One thing to note, that when she did reluctantly cast those spells for an astronomical, eye-watering amount of money, she did make it very, very clear to all of those present that the goddess, the mother, the sister of mercy, the healer almighty in the sky, Hera Akraya, the god that she worships, the goddess she worships, is absolutely watching this one. When she says this one, she is referring to Karios. And it is through Hera's graces that this child, Karios, badly burnt child, has been brought back to able to operate, being able to function. And as a result, she, High Priestess Aveline, and certainly the god that has helped bring Karios back, expect to see Karios back at the Temple of Hera. At some stage, it was left pretty open, and it was indicated that at least within the next 3 months, because the goddess most likely will be interested to evaluate whether or not her power and her essence, which has gone into healing Karios, was well placed or not, and perhaps what Karios can do to atone if it's not. So at some stage in the next few months, Karios is strongly encouraged to go back to Temple. That is the last point for me. Anything else, any other qualifying questions, anything else before I say the immortal words and we kick off the session? Going once, going twice. Sup, yeah. So we begin right as the last syllables out of Karios's badly scarred mouth of grey have come out of her mouth. Everybody is upstairs. If you remember the house that's on screen, there were 3 levels, and there were some pretty basic but comfortable enough mattresses or pallets on the ground to sleep on. Karios is on one of them. She's been lying there since you brought her back from the Temple of Hera. It's getting on for dusk on this very inauspicious evening. Her eyes have just opened, and she says those 3 words. What happens now?
Gray would kind of flap into a bit of a panic. I think he's a bit very anxious. Maybe try and go get her some water or something. He'd go get her some water.
Okay.
Etienne would be very excited and would be thanking his goddess. He'd just be jubilant.
Excellent. His goddess, of course, the goddess of love, is Hera's sister.
Yeah, he'd be embracing people.
Excellent. Cool.
Leif would give Karios a hug, definitely reassure her, let her know that she's, give her space, but also just gently and quietly let her know that she's okay and that, she was injured, and sort of try and fill her in, answer questions if she has them, but just, make her feel safe and comfortable, and know that she's surrounded by her friends, and would, answer questions, and when she's ready, gradually start to talk about what's happened in between, basically. I suppose, and Nathan would be standing alongside.
I think Demos would go and hug Etienne. Just be very happy that Karios is alive. And I think Nesina will just be standing in the background, smiling as well.
Excellent. Okay. Do we have a
Victory?
Yeah.
Where's my cat? No. No. Are there head bops?
There are head bops. Victory is absolutely ecstatic to see Karios awake, and just purrs and head bops, and absolutely ecstatic, clearly. And even Wingy, who's in the room, lets out a couple of chirps.
Gray would give her the water and say, "I bring you water," and then just they maybe trip and they spill a little bit on her, but it would give her some water.
It's so awkward. But it's so cute.
What happens?
Karios will I guess, I mean, she can move about and stuff. Like, she'll come to a sitting position gently
Painfully.
and painfully and accept the water, and there might be some lowered looks through eyelashes and
So what
little
does Kairos,
smiles.
what does Kairos look like, actually? Give us a description.
Well, on my sheet it says she's ugly, but thanks, GM. So she, prior to the incident, she was quite a sweet, somewhat plain-looking young woman. She was 74, I think. She's now minus 75, which the GM has kindly rounded up to 1. So she's looked better, but I think for her, you know, she's not swayed by look. She's swayed by the heart.
So what is that? Tell us why. Why? I mean, she got where? Why is she? That's a combination of rot and what else would you say?
Yeah, I mean, well, she had a fairly horrific initial injury, and then, I mean, the team did a great job. They called her down fairly promptly, but she did, you know, I mean, she's decomposing. She was dead. She's a dead body. And I guess you can't have it all when you come back. You can't have your heart back. You can't have your lungs back. You can't have your arms back. You can't have face back. I mean, what do you want? Yeah, I guess you can't have it all. But she's very philosophical. I mean, she feels in herself what's wrong. She doesn't need to look in a mirror. She knows within herself what's happened. But she's woken up very philosophical and just very grateful and very touched by her friends. And they are her friends now. She would literally, if she didn't do it before this incident, she will literally die for them. But she doesn't want to be brought back again. But no, but do you know what I mean? Like it's changed for her. And I think it's changed, I mean, I'm not speaking for the other characters, but they went to great lengths, like unreasonable lengths that you would expect of people who didn't know.
Well, she doesn't know this yet.
No, but I'm talking,
Okay.
you know, yeah, it's just, I think the friendships are really going to change after this, and that's me as the owner. Okay. But, yes.
So what does she do? What does she say?
What does she do? I mean, she looks around, she looks at all these faces who are probably looking at her expectantly. They're probably a little revolted, to be honest, by what they see. Hopefully they can hide that. She probably has many, many questions, but they will come. She definitely wants to know what happened in the meantime, and of course that will come. But I think for now it's just being acclimatized back to living and working through what state she's in. And I think once we come to terms with that, then we can just move forward with her.
Okay, so narrate that perhaps. What happens? How does she discover what's going on with her?
Well, she knows she's different. She can feel it. She's in pain, and she now has a very low pain tolerance. When she tries to speak, she has a speech impediment, so she stutters.
Yep.
So she's falling over her words, and she's thinking, "Oh, I've just woken up or whatever." But she comes to realise actually this is permanent. So she thinks. So stuttering. She feels really vague and slow. Again, she hasn't tested the theory, but it could just be because she's just woken up from being dead, or it could be something more permanent. So she definitely feels that. She can see on her body she's got incredible scarring. as if someone's thrown acid at her.
Mm-hmm.
She can feel her face. Are we discussing the arm, or can I go ahead with my decision?
Floor's yours. I mean, she presumably moves, or tries to move a little bit, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so her left arm, luckily she's right-handed, but her left arm, it doesn't work. It's still there, but it doesn't work. So she will have to use her right hand and her right arm, and she's obviously thinking at the same time, how am I going to cast my spells? How am I going to do this? How can I hold a sword and cast a spell? So it's all kind of running through her head. What else? She feels like she could probably take care of herself in the sense of she can use the bathroom, she can get dressed, she could feed herself, she could snuggle with her cat or with her friend Grey. She could share a drink with friends. She could put a pack on. But there's definitely some deficit, and it is going to impact the team. And I guess she's just kind of... It's probably incredibly emotional when people... I was going to say when people wake up from these situations, but who wakes up from this situation? But, she went to sleep one way and she's woken up another, and I think there's just probably a lot of competing thoughts going on in her head, and a lot of them she will just have to work through as they arise, the physical stuff. No doubt she needs a recap. She will need to know every minute detail. She probably needs to speak to a therapist. She definitely needs lots of cuddles from anyone around. She will be staying close to Leif for sure. And I think her priority at the minute is she'll need to face herself in a mirror. She knows that, and she needs to hear the full story.
Okay.
Are probably the priorities, and then go from there. Having said that, she has woken up aware that there's something massive has happened. She hasn't been here for a while. She's not sure where she's been. And she's... Yeah, I've just lost my train of thought there, sorry. Yeah, no, it'll come back to me, so I just lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on for me as her owner, but there's a lot going on for her, and she'll need to just work through that. Oh, philosophical. So, yeah, she's aware that something massive has happened, and she has a sense that her friends have stepped up, and she's feeling just grateful and actually surprisingly quite chill. What will be, will be. She will manage it how best she can.
Okay. But no immediate great questioning at the moment.
I think she needs to get up. I think she needs to have a wash. I think she needs to see what her basic physicality is. I think she needs to look at a mirror, and then I think they need to sit down with a couple of bottles of wine and some ale and just start talking.
Okay. So is that what happens for the remainder of this evening, folks? Does anybody do anything else?
Grey would be happy to sit with her and cuddle if that's what she wants. But I think he'd probably be a bit awkward about it. He'd probably, he'd just sit next to her, but he wouldn't do anything and just be really nervous. But he'd be happy to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. So just, definitely Karios getting her bearings on her newish body, and then maybe something to eat, perhaps enjoy some of, I don't know, the sights of Landania out the window, I don't know. Just being awake again, and then, so I think Leif in particular will be supporting her as much as he felt that she was looking for it. So Leif would be really happy to step aside for Grey if that's the vibe he got. So he would, he's like her brother, and if if he's getting the signals that's who Karios is looking to for that physical comfort, then he'd be absolutely that's full. So he'd be the points that he'd want to make throughout a discussion would be that the first thing is Mithan's appearance is 11. So too repulsed by Karios. Mithan's not much better. So
Oh, sorry, Miss Anne.
so she's in really good company. I mean, I don't know, but it might well have a a kind of soul system. Like that might be something like a bond they can strengthen over. I don't know, but yeah. So one's not much worse than 11. But Leif would want to, when she was ready to hear it or when it came up, Leif would point out that that he's aware that there are some of the things that are affecting her that can certainly be repaired by further stat healing, as we have done already, and also he's dedicated to finding solutions to stutter or limb immobility or any other disability that's surfaced. But when he feels he speaks to the party, that we're just so pleased that she's back, and that it's just that's it. We're so pleased that she's back and back with us. We still have our mission. We still have our adventures to go on, and if she is feeling up to it, we will do that with her, and we will support her in whichever way is needed. She will not be a burden to the party. She will be we will continue as is. And if there are slight allowances that need to be made for any sort of new disability, we'll make them. We'll find ways to find solutions. It will not be we're back together. The party is reunited, and that's a fantastic thing. And then Leif would, as much as she's wanted to hear, just we'd let her know about the steps that have happened in between, getting off the island and meeting Jackin and the healing process. But just, he's not going to. He's just going to focus on what the group really was like. That we were solution focused rather than money, or we just were looking for the best way of solving that problem, basically, getting a healthy resolution.
Just one comment I'd make. So this discussion's taken quite a while. Thanks, Pete. You do notice after a little bit, all of you look around. It's probably Karios that notices first off. Where's Tarquin? He's gone. You discover downstairs that the door is open and the key is still in the door, but the door is open downstairs. Actually, no. What would you have done? The door is still locked and the key is underneath the door, your side. The door has been relocked. No sign of Tarquin. On the eve before Year's End Day, Tarquin has left the safe house.
When no one's going to be in the street. Miss Anne will take it upon herself to. He's out there. She will take it upon herself to be a little bit of a guard and listen for him coming back if he needs to be let in.
Okay.
So she will take that. Be aware.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. So that discussion process starts and Leif begins to, after Karios has had something to eat, and yes, definitely grab a couple of bottles of wine and some ale perhaps, and has been to the bathroom and has freshened up as best you can. If you remember going back to where you're staying, it isn't lavish. It's not awful, but it isn't lavish. There are some public latrines in this little alleyway that Karios can use, perhaps with some assistance. But there's not a public bathhouse around, and even if there was, it'd be unlikely to be open tonight. So you settle in for the evening, and you have those discussions. Anything else I should be aware of for that night? No? Okay. So the night passes, and then the next day dawns, which is indeed the day of very ill tidings. And if it was quiet yesterday, and getting quieter yesterday, you can almost hear a pin drop now. The only sound you can hear out in this busy, normally very, very busy city of, I've got no idea of the population, but lots, to you, is the sound of frogs and insects that you can hear in the background. And Victory has almost by now worn out her purr. It is indeed Year's End Day. What are people doing on this day? Oh, Tarquin, by the way, Mithan, did come back very, very late that evening. He did knock on some windows and some doors. You were specifically listening out for him and let him in. He just said he was just out checking out the area, etc. Thanks very much for letting him in.
Well, she'd let him know that we'd brought Karios up and that. I mean, they've only met 2 days, right? No, 1 day. 1 day.
It was only 1 day. Yes, that's right. So true, good point. So Karios probably wouldn't have asked. Maybe Karios wouldn't have asked where that strange, incredibly good-looking, another very good-looking young man was. Because you're absolutely right. If we are checking the dates, you are absolutely right. So Karios died on the 2nd of... You are spot on, Pete. The 2nd of Year's End, and you met Tarquin literally the day before, the 1st of Year's End. So she had only known him for a matter of hours. Here we go. Yes, the next morning. What do you do? Everybody jump off mic and run me through your characters if you're doing. Yeah, just talk me through what you're doing on this particular day.
Leif will be hanging out with everyone, being social, but particularly showing how pleased he is that Karios is back. I don't think that we have anything we need to be doing. Our next thing in the city, our next thing for our group to do, I believe, is waiting for Myrna to come back with the travel plans to Paraknev. What a lovely prospect. Going to the city of the dead. Great. And she's not going to be here today, so to his mind, it's a day at home. He doesn't want to go out in the streets because it'll be particularly noticeable, and we are very much wanted. So he'll just be chilling. Smitham will be doing much the same in her more reserved way.
Great. Anything else from anyone else?
Karios is definitely resting and snoozing and then eating and snoozing and, yeah, just recovering.
Cool.
Yeah, Gray's just happy and sheepishly getting anything that she needs and running around. And Etienne is just touching everyone.
Good touching.
In a respectful way.
Good touching.
Also suggested. Yep, good touch.
Excellent. And
I think.
Yep.
Demos and Nathan are probably just hanging around, kind of keeping themselves busy and entertained.
Mm-hmm.
Demos is avoiding. Demos did the one hug for Etienne and that's it, so he's avoiding him now.
Excellent. Okay. So you pass the day as described, and my goodness, it is quiet. And yet again, Tarquin heads off. He doesn't say anything to anybody. He certainly doesn't make his departure known. He just heads off. He goes out the door. Yeah. The rest of the day passes, and I might not quite get the time right on this, but I think it's around. Hang on, let me just think through this. Does he? Yes. Think he comes back. Maybe he doesn't. Yeah, I think he does come back. I'm just thinking back to the session that Giles and I played. Can I please ask for... It's coming on my computer. again, you guys don't know him super well, but he does come back to the house. I'm going to say, I can't think that's the case. Could everybody here please give me one perception roll? First roll for Karios, back in the game. Let's do Karios first.
So she rolled a 42.
Mm-hmm. What's her perception?
These are all different now. I don't know them.
Yes.
Perception. Oh, shame. Oh, plus 30.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Is that plus 30? Hang on. Yeah, plus 30.
Okay, cool. And let's just go around. Pete? Just go,
Plus.
you go with your highest.
Well, it's Ma. Yeah.
No, yeah, but your character with the highest.
Oh, hi. Sorry. Mithran rolled a 91.
91. Yep.
And her perception. Perception is 83.
It's what, sorry?
83.
Cool. 83, lovely. Just let me check. Oh, so delicate. Yep, okay. With my temperamental computer. Okay, cool, thank you. And Demos or Yathnal, whoever's got the highest perception, and the same for Grey and Etienne in a second. Go for it. Or either of you guys, go for it.
I think Neathnal's got a higher
Yep.
percentage. Hang on. I'm pretty sure hang on. It's 5%. Yeah, no, Neathnal definitely has a high percentage. She rolled a 68.
Thank you.
And her perception is 82.
Okay, cool. And thank you. And for the two that you have, please, Aiden.
I rolled an 89 for. I think Grey has slightly more. So, yeah, Grey got an 89 and his perception is 38.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you. Pete, a little bit of information coming into Mythan's chat in just a second. Just a sec so you can't see. Yep. Just coming into Mythan's now. Yeah, Tarquin is back for a little bit of time and then heads out quite promptly after that, again without explanation.
Leif would very gently, we were talking about politics earlier in the questions, it's Tarquin's business, he's not going to interfere, but he's just very gently asking, what he's up to, and he's happy if he gets the fob-off answer, he gets the message, he's not going to push.
He's just seeing some old friends.
Okay, cool.
And Tarquin heads off. Anything else for the rest of the day? Nope. Okay. That's that evening. Please tell me if anybody does anything. But a rinse and repeat. Oh, we've just lost. I think we've just lost Karios. Oh, she's back. Must have clicked the wrong button. Just relaxing, recovered. By now, Karios, you're well and truly up to speed with what's taken place and where you've been and the delights of Kaltaimun and all the various adventures that people have had to recover you, and that sense of appreciation that you talked about. Absolutely, Karios would now have a greater understanding of what these people have done for you. The rest of the day passes completely and utterly uneventfully. It is extremely quiet outside. You go to sleep. There's plenty of food. Some of it's getting a little bit stale, but it's still perfectly edible. And you go to sleep and wake the next day on New Year's Day. And suddenly, the vibe of the city has totally changed. And Landania springs back to life. Not only that, but there's laughing and there's singing. People are dancing in the streets. There is a clearly in this dismal, depressed, jungle-infested, cloaked, swampy, rundown city, there's often not a lot of joy. But on this day, people are happy. And you can hear absolutely laughter and the sound of children playing. People are clearly very happy. The horribleness of the previous day is now behind them. When you wake, and Nithan, you were listening out for Tarquin coming home. He didn't come home last night, by the way. What do your anything else your characters do today, or at least first waking?
No. Is there like a little market or anything close by?
Yeah. Out on that street, if you can see my cursor, coming out of the little alleyway that you're in, out down the street, it's quite a larger, not major thoroughfare, but it's certainly a busier road. And yeah, there are some small stalls and there are some stallholders for sure.
Gray would be keen to pop out and maybe go find some nice food to bring back for the team and for Karios to eat, get us some strength.
Nice. Okay. Cool. You head out. Gray. Anybody else doing anything before we go to Gray? Nope. Okay. Gray, you head out, and yes, there's plenty of things to purchase. There is strudel. There is hot curry. There is some spicy stew for sale. There's bread being baked. And indeed, part of the road has been closed down, and there is dancing. You do notice, as you get to just about here, you notice you can see where the cursor is, tucked a little bit out of the way. There's a small bird. It looks quite helpless, and it's just lying on the ground. It's slightly out of the way, so it's not being trodden on. But it's certainly alive, but it's not moving much.
Well. Okay. He would be interested in that bird. Does love himself a nice bird. Trying to think what he'd do. I think he would. He would maybe ask himself. Actually, maybe no. I think he would. Sorry, I'm just trying to looking through his different abilities to see if there's any like
Yeah.
magical healing that he can do for birds, but for animals. But it doesn't seem like he can actually heal them. But he would maybe just try and like look around as well to start with. Just use a bit of general perception
Yeah,
and
give it
maybe
a
have
roll.
a sniff
Yeah.
of anything, so if he can smell anything untoward.
Mhm.
He's a little bit. He's been hurt before, you know. Not looking to be hurt again.
Sure.
65.
65. And what's his perception, please?
38.
Okay. Is there anything in particular he's looking for?
He's just wanting to look if there's any kind of trap, I guess, like any kind of like, yeah, or if there's anyone else that's kind of looking at the bird, or if there's just looking for anything untoward.
Sure. He has a good look around. No, absolutely no one else is vaguely interested. The bird itself is kind of tucked under. There's that overhang there that you can see, and it's fallen almost directly below that overhang. There are some windows, etc. Above, and with panes of glass in them. And other than that, no one's paying any attention. So there are windows, as I say, directly above them. But other than that, nothing else.
All right. I think he would probably pick it up and put it in his pocket very quickly.
Okay. It's a little sparrow, by the looks of it.
Yeah. Little friend for Wingy, maybe.
Well, breakfast for victory.
Or a meal, yeah. Maybe a meal.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you head out into the street, and as described, there's several market stalls that you can choose from.
I don't think that spicy food would be great for a newly formed stomach. I think you'd probably just go for some nice bread and maybe a strudel.
There you go. Mark off 3 copper, please. Mark off 1 copper, 5 tin.
Cool.
Yep.
And then once he's purchased that, he would go back and once he's inside, maybe have a closer look at the little friend.
Yeah, it's just a sparrow. Appears to be a perfectly normal little bird. Just it's kind of opening and closing its mouth a bit, and its eyes are quite wide. But apart from that, a perfectly normal sparrow.
I guess there's not much that he can do in terms of healing it. So he might just, find a little box or something that he can put it in, just to keep it safe. And he would maybe give it a little piece of bread and some water, and just leave it there for it to eat. And then he'd just kind of let it be.
Okay, sure. Cool. He does exactly that.
Maybe show it to Karios. He knows she likes animals.
Okay. Karios. Hello, Karios.
Sorry, I've had to switch to my phone, and she would love to see the little sparrow, and she would love to sit and hold the sparrow and talk about the sparrow and assess Victory's interest in the sparrow.
Victory is not especially interested in the sparrow, oddly enough.
Phew. Or oddly enough. Oh.
I mean, normally she would be, but no, she's just kind of happy seeing Karios again.
Okay, I was going to say, it's not a special magical sparrow, is it?
I don't know, is it?
Blake witnessing this, he might say if Gray's particularly interested, he could walk with it, couldn't he?
Yes, yeah, he definitely could. And I think, once it maybe gets a little bit healthier, he might have a go. But if it's just kind of dazed, I don't know if it'd be up to much in terms of talking just yet. But yes, he will. Once it perks up, he's definitely going to have a little chat, see what happened. See if it saw anything suspicious happening.
Okay.
Out on those streets.
All right. Anything else, guys? Nope. Okay. So, not long after you get back, actually, Gray, there is a now quite familiar on the door, and your host, Myrna, arrives. She's bringing freshly baked, more freshly baked bread, and some other food to last you both for breakfast and lunch. She comes in. She doesn't. You've kind of worked out. You've got to know her a little bit. She doesn't tend to say much. She just comes in. She smiles, kind of a bit of a vague kind of smile at you, and just simply says, "New Year's Day blessing upon you all." Just puts the food down. Anybody do anything?
Say Happy New Year's, and maybe ask if what she got up to, what'd she do. Etienne would be quite interested in, we'd give her a hug, definitely touch her, and then ask what she did for her New Year's.
She's quite kind of surprised at this absolutely gorgeous one-armed man coming up and giving her a hug. Well, I stayed home to avoid the bad luck. Didn't you?
With he's just, we celebrated. There's so much joy to be had this New Year's.
Okay.
It's going to be a good year.
Good. I hope it's going to be a good year too. Yes, young man. Yes, young man. She does seem quite... she's quite short for a start. And Etienne's a big, strapping guy. He's only got one hand, but yes. Okay.
I guess he'd ask as well if she had any news to bring them, or any details of anything.
News. News about what, dear?
Anything happening in the city? Anything you've heard? I don't know. Anything of note?
Oh, they're rebuilding. The bounty on your friends has gone up.
Great.
War is brewing between... Well, war has broken out, they're saying, between the Empire of Thumazul and the Kingdom of Thrace. War is now underway, they say.
Wonderful, he'd say. He's not really listening, he's just too happy. Wonderful, that's great. Fantastic.
Yes, good. Dragon was seen somewhere down south, I think. Yeah. Things are good. Standard operating procedure.
Wonderful. Bid her a good day, give her a touch of face, and then go eat some bread.
Okay.
If Leif was there, he would follow up with a question about if so if there's a sort of party of that conversation. Just idly ask where the war has broken out between Thumazul and Thrace. Anywhere in particular?
North.
As in the main kingdoms of Thumazul and Thrace, between them along their borders.
I don't know, is that north?
Yeah, so it must be then. Must be. Excellent. And Leif would also just prompt her for any news on our travel plan to the south.
Oh, yes, that's... I knew I had something to say to you, yes. What was it? Yes. So, good news. Pashket you've got no idea. She's, yeah, you think you might have heard her mention Pashket. Pashket's found a carpenter, and yes, he has made plans. He will come here early. He says she's kind of like visibly pausing here. You actually see her on her fingers counting. 2 days' time. Third, he said. Morning of the 3rd, bright and early. Please be here. He has been working hard while you've been away and has made some good plans, which he will share.
He will share with us on the 3rd.
Yes. He has a carpenter. That's good. It's good. I don't know why he is a carpenter, but...
He will tell us. He will tell us. Or anyone else who's there, is this insight into her behaviour? She hasn't seemed absent-minded in the past. Is she particularly absent-minded now?
The GM's just forgotten about it.
Oh, cool. I'm not paranoid in any way, but I'm always looking out for those clues which might mean something dodgy is going on. But yeah, so this is in her character. Cool, that's fine.
And anything else? Anybody say or do anything with her? Oh, she says, how's your little friend? The little girl.
Huh?
I'm
Seems to be
here.
in Landania.
Do you introduce yourself, Karios?
Yes. I say hello. Thank you for looking after us.
So she visibly recoils from Karios.
Oh, Carol.
There, dear. I'm sure it'll go down.
Rude.
Eris apologises and touches her face. She's philosophical, but she's not 100% confident. Yeah, she's still a young woman.
Are you in, and Myrna comes up to Karios and kind of does that really irritating thing that people who are speaking to foreigners do, where they speak really loudly and clearly. Are you enjoying Landania, dearie?
To be honest, I haven't had a little look-see currently, but I'm happy to be here with my friends.
Good. This is New Year's Day, dearie. They have strudel outside. It's very nice.
Yes, my friend has brought me some strudel.
Good.
Yum.
Good. She says, and starts shuffling off towards the door. Any other actions from anybody I need to know about? Getting shakes her head.
Karos' self-esteem has dropped considerably, but otherwise, no.
Okay. Do we want to fast forward a little bit? Yep, we're getting some nods. Loving having the cameras on, guys. Yep, and thumbs up as well. That's great. So 2 days pass, and sure enough, bright and early, very bright and early, just on the crack of dawn. Again, there is the familiar knock on the door, and of course, Myrna has been twice, once again on New Year's Day, and then once in the morning, once in the evening, the previous day, the day of the 2nd. And then finally, this morning, when she comes to deliver food, she has three men with her, and she ushers these 3 men inside. She sets down the food and she introduces them to you, or kind of tries to introduce them to you. She turns to this man, and you're all downstairs, all around the table, and says, this is Pashket, and Pashket is is here to help you, and this is Cicely. And the man kind of pauses and politely, in quite strangely accented South Tongue. It is South Tongue that you're all speaking. He doesn't speak South Tongue very well. Just simply says Silsi. And then she turns to this man here, who frankly looks not quite terrified, but certainly quite nervous. And she says, and your name, dear, is... And then this guy here, Pashket, says he doesn't speak South Tongue. By the way, just checking, what are you all speaking? What is the common language? Just checking it is South Tongue.
They only speak South Tongue to 2.
Yep.
Westron? It's common between Leif and Nathan.
Yeah, Etienne speaks Westeron.
So,
And
strong
Gray
preference.
speaks nothing.
The strong preference for these guys is to speak Thebronic. Or South.
Yep, he can speak Thebronic. Etienne can speak
Okay.
Thebronic.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Bronic to 5 for Leif.
Okay.
Geralt,
Demos
no.
can speak Thebronic to 6, that's his mother tongue, and Niesno can also speak it to 6.
Okay. So, Thebronic is definitely the preference here, although they can speak a smattering of South Tongue, but there are definitely going to be some characters, and we'll have to confirm exactly which ones, but there are going to be some characters that cannot speak with these people, which could make things interesting. So your host says to you, "Well, I'll leave you. And she heads out the door. These 3 men are... You've seen a few of these people in the city. Not a lot, but yeah, a few people that look like this. They're shorter. They're definitely not nearly as large as all of you. So on average, they would only be maybe 5.5 foot. Quite broad faces, very, very strong features, and darker skin, all wearing very, very colourful clothes. You notice that Pashket, this man, is carrying some documents and some paper and what looked like a couple of maps. He pauses. He looks around. All 3 of them kind of stand there looking at the rest of the party.
Geralt hides her face. Embarrassed.
Okay.
Etienne's our spokesman, isn't he? If it
Yes. He would ask why they've stopped. What's happening?
Sorry, Master. What do you mean?
Why have we stopped? Why have we stopped moving?
Moving, Master?
Wait, sorry. I think I might have blacked out for a second. What were we doing?
There seems to be a lot in the conversation, so I suppose they need guidance from us, I guess.
What's that, sorry?
I guess we should get them onto the topic of our travels, yeah?
Ah, yes. How should we move forward on our travels with you? You're here to help us.
Yes, we have been hired, Master, to assist you to take you to the Dead City. This
Okay.
city of our ancestors.
What is the best way? What is the best route to get there? The safest way?
I am Pashket, son of Induit. This man, he is Silsi, and this man is Carpenter Tahoe. We are honored to meet you. May the gods smile upon this meeting.
Etienne would smile, beaming at all of them, and thank them. Maybe touch his face. I don't know. And he would ask, how do they suggest we get there the safest way? What is the best way for us to get there?
To the Dead City. Yes, we are here to tell you and to provide advice and options. But first, may we know your names, Master?
Yes. He would introduce the characters.
One thing to note, just before we go on, sorry to interrupt. You do notice that both Tahoe and Silsi have pretty solid, pretty good quality looking, pretty business looking falchions, called curved swords at the side. High quality. Yes, Master, your names, please.
Should we? I wonder if we should give our code names.
Yeah, I think we will have been using pseudonyms, I think. It's our general way of working, yeah.
Yeah. So we would do that. He would introduce them as their code names. And he would ask them. He would admire their swords and say, "Oh, those are rather handsome swords you have there. Do you get much use out of them?"
Yes, the falchion is the sword of our people. Yes, these very swords have been used several times by both myself and slightly less time for Silsi to travel to the Dead City. This one, and he touches it, has felled several of the twice living, more than once, on more occasion.
Right.
And if we go there together, I have no doubt that it will fell more.
Excellent. Okay. So,
may we sit down?
Yes, please. Have some bread and some delicious strudel.
Oh, thank you, Master. Thank you.
Yes.
It is. It is delicious strudel. Thank you, Master.
Yes, it's only the best for you. So, please tell us what are these options that you have for us?
Yes. You know. Do you know much of our city?
No. Please inform us.
So, ours is an old and ancient culture, but for many, many years, we lived a simple life. What became Tarak Nev was a small farming human community established on interconnecting islands, set in a small lake in the center of the island of Arranmore, and with that he brings out a map. Here, he says. Our people were peaceful people. Hunters, gatherers, And we lived on Arranmore, separated by the sea of fire, the sea that boils. We were happy in our lives. My ancestors, it is said, were farmers and nature worshippers. Simple tribalists cut off by the rest, from the rest of Karkon, by the volcanic-fueled sea of fire. We call ourselves in our tongue Nureti, and Nureti means the sons of the soil. Our ancestors, they say, and he is looking around you. I don't wish to bore any of you. Do you want to simply? Shall I move to our plans of travel?
Yes, please move to the travel, but I hope to hear more of the Nueti people and your wonderful, beautiful lands as we travel together.
I would like to please include any of your people's history that you find relevant to our travel.
Yes.
Yes. Well, so he looks a little bit flustered at this. So, you are aware that something terrible rose up in the fallen land of Scarthus 246 years ago. Vast, unclean armies of the Twife living that swept out of Scarthus and across all our lands. Shells of humans with burning eyes, demons, and evil-hearted blue-skinned men. 219 years ago, after a valiant defense, our capital, Taraknev, fell, and the glory of the Nureti with it. It is said that, and I was going to tell you this before. He looks a little bit confused that his train of thought is a little bit puddled. That the witch, the dark sorcerer queen of the Nureti, Varama Ver, who was meant to have purchased centuries ago at the beginning of the Fourth Age, rose again, and with some dark rite, some dark ritual, brought her back from the dead, and she became a great captain in the forces and the legions of Scarthus. In addition, and I'm coming to your travel in a second, in addition to all manner of unclean things that she brought back, Virama managed, with her father's help, managed to get some kind of mechanical horror, some kind of construct with many blades working. And legends say that it guards a certain location in the Dead City. Then, in the darkest hour, 153 years ago, in 1633, beautiful winged allies from another place, and he turns and he looks at Sisley and Tahoe and see if they can comment. From another place, yes, and they all nod. Came and they fought with Varama and her champions, along with allies from all manner of this world. An Arab seer from the north, a great magician from Vargus, a warrior mage from Segesta, and various other legions that came to throw down Scarthus. Finally defeated in a great battle, close to and in some cases inside the actual walls of Taraknev. Elsewhere, and that was the beginning of the end of the forces of Scarthus, 153 years ago. Elsewhere, other great battles took place, and finally, by the end of 1633, the forces of Scarthus were defeated. And sadly, and this comes to the travel, sadly, other lands such as this very city, Landania, and places like the Kingdom of Vetlimit to the east were able to come back to their ruined lands and cities and rebuild. But not for us. And he hangs his head low. Not for the M.E.R.P, as our lands were too infested by the evil that remains behind in the swamps, and in our capital, Tarak Nev, has lain in ruins ever since. To travel to the Dead City is not easy, and he brings out another map. We are here in Landania. There are two main ways to travel. Firstly, around 70 days to travel all the way through the treacherous canals and swamps, all the way down to the Sea of Fire, and then around the edge of the Sea of Fire until ultimately coming to the point to cross over to Whistler's Island and then onto the island of M.E.R.P itself. That would take at least 45 days to walk from here to here, he says. You can see the cursor on screen, can you? Can you? You can? Yes, good. But then there is the trouble of finding a boat to take us across the Sea of Fire itself, which may be a task a challenging task in itself. And that would take many days to sail, and traveling across the Sea of Fire is a dangerous endeavor. Some say there are undead sea monsters there, and there is, of course, the boiling water from where the inland sea gets its name. Volcanic activity, crevices that suddenly erupt, and crossing the stretch of water is treacherous. What most people do, and what we have chosen to do, so long as you agree, unless you would prefer to go another way, is to travel by navigator column. And you'll see on this map the known places where navigator columns exist. Here in Landania, here in the town of Osot, Silvioross, the Free Kingdom of Silvioross, the Kingdom of Vetlimit, Ely and other places, but also the closest is down here. There is a navigator stone at Port Vestilis, which is 5 days south of the Sea of Fire. So we would travel from here to Port Vasilis, the ruins of Port Vasilis, and then we would travel, and again he brings out yet another map. He has clearly done his homework and he has come prepared. We would travel here from Port Vasilis, 5 days up the river road to the Sea of Fire. From the shores of the Sea of Fire, you'll need to travel around 4.5 miles across the Sea of Fire to Whistler's Island, and then another 4 miles to the shores of M.E.R.P itself. From there, you'll need to regrettably leave a boat, assuming we manage to find a boat, as it's said that the Tradeway Canal here is either blocked or unnavigable. From there, you'll need to travel to the southern docks and walk up a road by the name of the Via Passage. Again, he switches back to this map. from the ruined docks, up the Via Passage, across the falling bridge, through skirting the Elder Swamp, and finally to the Red Gate of Tarak Nev itself. The walk from the Sea of Fire to Tarak Nev should take you about 5 days. And I do use the word you specifically. We are your guides. We are here to help you, but we will not venture to Arranmore, and we will not venture to the Dead City with you. Our task is to guide you from here at Port Vestilis, 5 days up through the jungle-infested swamp, up to the Sea of Fire. And there we will wait for you to return.
Etienne would thank them for their studious details, and he would question what kind of provisions they think we would need to bring. What would we need to make the journey? And would they be able to also help us get a boat? Or is that something that we'll have to do on our own?
So we have been preparing since Myrna has asked us to assist you, Master, and we have already made arrangements. We have provisions for each of you, for each of us, for 22 days each. That's 5 days from Port Vestilis to the Sea of Fire, 3 days to Tarak Nev, 6 days for you to explore the Dead City, 3 days back from Tarak Nev, and then 5 days back to Port Vestilis. We will wait for you on the shores of the Sea of Fire for 13 days, 1 day extra than is needed. There is, or at least was, an old ruined tower that is reasonably safe, where all the guides stay. On the 14th day, we will return, if we do not have you, by ourselves, back to the navigator column and return to Landania. We will stay no longer. In terms of other preparations, we have 42 pounds of food each for you to carry, 4 pounds each of water, and 2 pounds each of oil, along with 1 pound each for insect repellent. It smells foul, but it should protect you at least somewhat. You will still of course, get bitten. We bring the oil with us to start fires, because we will need fires, and to give some to each of you, because oil is very important. It's very hard to start fires in the damp conditions of the green festa. You asked for a boat, so the challenge remains. We need a boat. You are right. Finding a boat intact enough to sail or row is utterly critical for our task. The usual practice is when we arrive in Ports Vestilis, we look. Typically there aren't boats there. Most guides over the last century and a half have taken them, what remains. But as we travel down the 5 days down the river, we will consistently search for boats. Ideally, down the swampy waters of the old Sohu River channel is definitely more protected, at least during the day, if we are on a boat. So it is highly desirable we find a boat. But absolutely, by the time we reach here, the Sea of Fire, you need we need to have found you a boat to cross that stretch. It's only a short distance of water to Whistler's Island, and then from Whistler's Island on to Arranmore. We are, as I say, treasure hunters most likely have no longer left any boats available in Port Vestilis. But we stand more of a chance as we travel down the river. And this is why we have brave Tahoe here. And Tahoe, by the way, is looking anything but brave. He looks utterly petrified, as a matter of fact. Tahoe is here to repair, because whatever boats we will find, we will need to repair. Tahoe is a carpenter, and it is his job on this trip to fashion something that will float, something that will sail. Do any of you sail, by the way? Can you any of you handle boats?
Leif has a modest skill of 27. I would express that. Very modest.
Yep, Gray and Etienne, neither of them have. But they can both swim. But I don't think they'd want to swim in those waters. Not so useful.
Karios, no.
And obviously this is being translated backwards and forwards. So
Yes.
we'll have to figure out languages in a second. He goes on to say, so we are your guides. We are here to show you the way. We are not here principally to fight, although of course we can fight. Both Silsi and I know how to fire a bow, and both of us have both slain the undead with swords and burnt them. I have been to the Sea of Fire 3 times previously, and Silsi once before. This will be the first trip for brave Tahoe's trip. Tahoe, by the way, looks as though he's about to be sick at the moment.
On the 3 times that you went, you were guiding people.
Yes,
Did they return?
some returned.
What did they say? Of the lands, of the ruined city, what did they say?
Many things. They have told us things, and we have obviously spoken to others. We know all the guides who travel. Not that there are many people that go there, by the way. Only once every 5 to 10 years, some crazed treasure hunter decides to travel, although it has been a busier year this year than normal. Yep, some make it into Tarak Nev, so they say. Most are never heard from again. Yeah, all that go, of all of the groups that go, at least some end up staying forever. Very likely to swell the number of the twice living. So, they say that there are less undead, the twice living in Tarak Nev himself, but instead of the undead, there are demons summoned up from God's knows where. Tall things, shadow things, phantom faces, mists which creep and twist and strangle. Time apparently seems to behave strangely there. And there are stories of things and champions from Tarak Nev's ancient pasts that seem to have come back to life. At least that's what some describe. From what we and others have pieced together, nothing there is real. And you should trust nothing other than your strong sword arm. To get into the city, you will most likely need to pass the Red Gate. There are rumors of those who have tried to get in other ways, but others speak of things on the walls that prevented them. The legends say that the Red Gate is guarded by a demon of some kind. Who knows if that's true? There is a man here in Landania who claims that his great-great-grandfather fought and survived in that last great battle in front of the walls of Tarak Nev. The battle that was the beginning of the end of Scarthus. This old man, his name is Old Man Tilia, and at this name, Silsi just snorts. Old Man Tilia claims that his ancestor has passed down the secrets of the Red Gate down to his family, and for a fee, will share this knowledge. Not all of the treasure seekers that go to Tarak Nev speak to Old Man Tilia, but most do. Some think he's a con man with smoke and fine words, and will simply part a gullible fool from their gold. Silsi here isn't a fan. I don't know, to be honest. That is your decision. If you have the gold to part, it is up to you. I do know that he demands, as well as payment, that you take part in some form of ritual to make you forget what you have learned until you're actually at Tarak Nev, and then forget it afterwards to ensure that his family's secret is safe. We can make the introduction as desired. We know more rumours about Tarak Nev, and on our travels down the river road as we hunt for a boat, we can certainly tell you more over the campfires.
Great. He'd thank them again. He'd turn to his companions and ask if any of them had any other questions to ask. Also, he'd want to know, I guess, is when would we be leaving?
We are prepared and ready to leave when you command us. We would need Myrna to... Myrna has already made some, I understand, some preparations with the navigators, so she would only need either 1 or 2 days to alert them of our travel. One thing to note, all of those provisions, that is 49 pounds each in total. Is that a weight you all can bear? It will get less, of course, as we travel.
Those of us that can't bear it will share the load with others that can.
Karios isn't going to be able to carry that. Yeah, thank you.
We'll manage.
Is there any possibility of taking a pack animal?
Animals don't last long in the swamps, and they run with the horrors that await us there. And there are horrors there.
So yeah, that would be Leif's question. So there are the twice living. What else should we be prepared for? What other preparations can we make for the horrors that are in the Green Festa and in Tarak Nev? Anything else we need to know?
Without doubt, we will encounter the twice lived. I have no doubt about that. They come in all shapes and sizes. Most are human, but some are beasts that you will know, and others you will not recognize. All are loathsome and all are deadly. Some will want to devour you, hating all things that live. Others want to make you like them. Some use incantations, some use fear, some use pure brute force. They are active at night and in dark places during the day. They dislike the sunlight they appear to be able to operate in it if they must. With some only enchanted blades, such as this, and he taps again the very business-like looking falchion to the side. Darkbane, I call them, can touch them. Others will fall to normal steel. But mind you, all, over time, slain will reform again unless they are destroyed by fire, which is the only true way to remove them of this world. There are other unnatural horrors that lurk in the jungles of the Alamang, the green fester, that I do not have names for. We're almost certain to encounter the twice living in or around the ruins of Port Vestilus when we arrive. And again, almost certainly at least once or twice or perhaps more for our 5 days down the river road through the jungle to the Sea of Fire. There are, of course, more normal creatures that call the Alamang home. Snakes, spiders, drop worms, gall cats, crocodiles, gas mouths. We may be lucky to avoid those, or we may not.
Life would also be interested to know of. So all the guides know each other. All the guides talk about who they've guided there. Do they? Can they tell us of who has been there recently and who's there now, and who else is going there soon?
Yes, it's been a very busy year. So as I said earlier on, Master, and this is this is via a translator for Leif, isn't it?
No, Leif speaks the Bronic to rank 5.
Okay. So normally treasure hunters only come around once every 5 or 10 years. Some of them survive, as mentioned. But it's been a busy year this year. 4 months back, in Blessing, a very large group of travellers, some 35 or so, travelled to Terek Nav. 5 weeks later, 6 of those 35 returned via the Navigator Stone. Rumour has it that they were some form of UPP Turong fanatics. And then, only a few days ago, a smaller group, 20 or so, also made the jump to Port Vestilus. My cousin, as the cousin's second husband, a guy by the name of Micah, went with them. They're led by a young woman with a scarred face and with white hair.
Perhaps they can be our friends.
They've either gone or they're about to go. I'm not quite sure.
Perhaps we'll meet them as friends. It would be very good for you to discover more for sure, if they have gone or are about to go, if that would be possible.
I can ask.
And anything else about their plans, if possible.
I can ask. I do know that my cousin's second husband, Micah, was quite reluctant to talk about his travel, and they have actually taken him into a secluded place before they travel. But I will do my best to find out more information.
In which case, please do not inquire too deeply. We would prefer for our travel to not reach their ears.
Maybe I say nothing?
Best to say nothing. Yeah. Ideally, if an idle talk, you could find out when definitely they are going, that would be fantastic. That's as much as we would need to know. If not, but our secrecy is better than them finding out.
He nods.
20 people in their party. Yes, any other questions from Demos or Karios? Nathaniel?
Karis doesn't speak the language, so she'll wait for it to be translated, I guess.
Blake would do that at appropriate times. You know, whilst Etienne was talking, he would be like, and just whispering to her ear.
Ray would be tending to his sick bird.
Okay. Oh, I meant to say, the birds, when you came back later in the day, was up and flying.
Ah, excellent. He'll be having a word with that bird later on.
Okay.
Leif would want to just have a wee word with the party. Yeah, it doesn't need to be a secretive thing. He feels that if we can get more information on Old Man Tilia, he's happy to be the one to have that conversation. So, I mean, it's a little uncomfortable having someone being involved in a ritual where you forget stuff, allowing someone sort of to do stuff to you. But Leif is happy to be the person but he feels it's valuable to get that. It sounds like it. Why not get that information if we can afford it? We can get a price for it, and he would be happy to be the person to put himself for that, or if that's the way it works. How does everyone else feel?
Etienne suggests that maybe 2 people is better than 1 in case 1 is killed.
That's a great idea.
He's happy to be the other.
So if we, yeah,
Yeah, she doesn't want to be the second dead person. Yep. She's good.
No, she'll be fine. She'll be fine.
No, she's good. She's good.
Sure, there's a bubble spell somehow. Cool. And that was a nod from Mason, I think I saw. Yeah, was that useful? So yeah, we will inquire about Old Man Tilia's price and if he would be able to come here.
His price you will need to discuss directly with him, and unfortunately not. You need the ritual that he performs needs to be done at, I understand, at his at a place of his choosing.
Just sorry, game question. Is Etienne wanted? Because he wasn't at Piper, was he?
Etienne?
Yeah, or was he? Well, he was at Piper, was he?
Yes, he was.
Okay, not my mistake.
Everybody bar
Gray.
Tarquin and Grey were at Python.
Yep. Cool. Okay. Overhead. Yeah, someone who can be disguised easily to go out in public. Oh, Nathaniel. Then Blake would nominate Nathaniel, who can cast a change spell on herself, can't she? I think.
I think Tarquin can.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Nathaniel Mason, you got that? Some sort of.
Sorry. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah. So just thinking that Grey is not known to be a part of the hero party. We're still trying to be aware of the bounty on our heads. If it was Nathaniel with a face changing spell on her and Grey should go to see Old Man Tilia, then that would be.
Yep.
And, yeah. That's a yes that Nathaniel has got a change his spell.
I don't have Nathaniel's spell list, but I'm pretty sure she does.
Yeah, she does. Of course she does. She does it all the time. It's like we hardly even recognise her. Let me see. What's she? Yeah, I'm fairly certain she does, and hopefully she'll be up for that if that's going to happen in the session. I prefer for it to be a Graham's decision.
Yep.
I think we could definitely indicate to Old Man Tilia to Hashket that we are interested in further information from Old Man Tilia about the Red Gate.
Good. When should I say you're all going to visit him?
It needs to be all of us.
Yes.
Why?
Because the secrets that he imparts, his concern is that it is shared with those that haven't paid his family.
It will only be shared. Oh, I see. I see. Right, so we all need this ritual cast on us, so we'll all forget. Sometime at night. We will go out at night.
Is it safest during the day though? Less scary things.
Well, I suppose we'll just ask that kid. We want to keep a low profile in the city. We do not. Some of us are somewhat recognisable.
Yes, the Rolemaster Church are hunting you.
Yes, thought you would know. Good. And when would you recommend? You know the city. When would you recommend is best for us to go and visit Old Mantilia?
I can make arrangements. It's very early today. I can make arrangements, and early morning tomorrow might be suitable.
If that gives you enough time to prepare, then I think that's what we should do.
Good. The ritual will take half a day, I believe.
Take half a day. Okay, very good. And then if we give Myrna notice as soon as possible, she needs 1 to 2 days to arrange the navigator transport. So that's good timing, but that's because we can make it. Is there any reason, this is a in-group question, any reason that we don't go as soon as possible?
No, I don't reckon.
No? Waiting on anything?
No, just get a wiggle on, I reckon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Such enthusiasm for going to the City of the Dead. Yeah, okay. So yeah,
I guess
that would
we
be...
just want to make sure we're all we know where we know where everybody is, and because I think we're still waiting for Tarkin to come back, so just make sure he's
Very
there.
good point. Very good point.
Out for everyone.
So I think if perhaps we'll say in 2 days' time. So tomorrow, so if we tell Myrna that she needs 1 to 2 days, give her 2 days.
So today is the 3rd.
Yep.
The intention is that you'd head to the Dead City on the 6th.
Correct.
Cool. Okay.
And that might give other times for Tarquin to arrive and as needed, or...
Yep.
Cool.
Very good, Masters. Is there any more information we can assist you with?
I can't think of any further information.
Actually, Leif would want... Oh, sorry, you go.
Oh, no, nothing.
I'm sure. Leif would want to engage them more, and I mean, he has indicated he identifies with the Nereti and somewhat pride in his people, I guess, or at least Leif would be interested in hearing more of the history if he is willing to tell it either now or on our journey. But also, Leif would want to encourage him would want to know a bit more about the Nereti people since the fall of Scarpus, the loss of their homeland, what it's like to live in the city as as a Nereti person.
Yes.
How things fare for them now as well as their history, but what things are like in present day for them as a people.
Certainly, Master.
Etienne's quite keen to drink with them. He's quite keen to offer them some drinks and celebrate their impending journey. He wants them all to do shop, and he's quite keen on chatting more to Tahoe. He's gonna use all his charm and give him a little roguish grin.
Okay.
See what happens.
You want to roll a charm on him?
Yeah.
Give me a roll.
Sorry, I'm just gonna find where that is. Ooh, 19.
19. What's his charm?
His charm is plus 77.
He's pretty good.
He's quite charming.
Yep. Yeah, it's taking longer than you'd hope, but you're almost successfully influenced your target. If appropriate, roll again on the next round with a plus 10. Give me another roll. Give me a plus 10 to that.
Okay. Well, 9. So another 19.
Yeah, look, poor Tahoe just... I mean, he just is sitting there, and you really get the impression he really doesn't want to be here. He kind of smiles at Etienne and has a polite sip, like all three of the guides, Pashket, Silsi, certainly Silsi and Tahoe, absolutely watch and take their cue from Pashket. You just see a very slight nod, and they just have a very sedate sip of the alcohol. They're certainly not doing shots. And Pashket, as polite as he is, absolutely is the boss. Our past and our present, says Pashket to Leif. Certainly, Master. I was saying earlier on that M.E.R.P means the sons of the soil. Well, we are an old people. Some say unkind, some say unsophisticated. But legends say that so old that some of the M.E.R.P, our ancestors, could speak with wild beasts and used to treat them as equals. Sometime in the first 200 or 300 years of this age, the Fourth Age, came misery to us. Varamaver and her manipulative father, Ergun. Varama learned quickly, and her mind, they say, unkindly I guess, but perhaps true, soon surpassed those of our simple ancestors who adopted her. And they say that before long, she began to hunger for real power. Again, the whispers say that her whispers and prayers for power by one of our gods, the most powerful of our gods, Orgiana, mistress of the dark. And with that, he puts a coin down on the table, and there is an image on the coin that looks like this. Better image. Varamaver used her persuasive magic to cause part of the M.E.R.P tribe to grow hostile, and they took up weapons against their brothers. A schism developed, and Viorama was asked to leave Taraknev along with her supporters. The group moved to the nearby Weir forest, and our ancestors, it says, were both unprepared and terrified of what they thought was coming. They called a great meeting, the Great Moot it's known, where with the help of the gods, they planned to elect a protector that could reckon with this new threat of Varamaver. And of those was, and you can see him kind of sit up a little bit, and puffs out his chest a little bit. Of that was chosen Ladvamaran. Ladvamaran, who was a distant ancestor of mine, And again, he looks very proud. And all were pleased with the choice, except those who had broken away to follow Varama Ver. They, in turn, proclaimed Varama Ver their queen. To keep our people safe, Ladvamaran began the construction of great walls to enclose Tarak Nev, and still do to this day. But war soon followed. And the more warlike, under Varama's sway, aided by her dark magic, ultimately proved victorious. It is said that Varama Ver, once she triumphed, and either slew or imprisoned Ladvarmaman, ruled Tarak Nev for many years, longer years than she should have lived, until a brave and unknown hero slew her with a mighty artifact, a sword from the ancient times. Our people largely faded into the backgrounds after the death of Varama Ver for many years, until around 500 years ago, when the Swamp Road was built, connecting up our lands with Landania. And for the next 300 years, things were good for our people. The Swamp Road allows us easy access to the Sea of Katana, and we had some moderate success with trade. And then, as already described, in 1540, the Year of Sorrow, 246 years ago, Scarthus rose, and again, Varama Ver was brought back from the dead, and the sack of Tarak Nev, the apocalypse as we call it, took place. After the fall of Tarak Nev and after the final defeat of Varama Ver and her followers 153 years ago, allied by our beautiful winged allies from another place. Beautiful they are, they're very tall, they say, so they say the legends, and painfully beautiful to look at on their faces. They brought down Varama Ver and her demons, and that was the beginning of the end for Scarthus. Since that time, Master, and he turns to Leif, we have been a forgotten people. Others were able to rebuild their cities and find some degree of greatness again. We have drifted, aimless, stateless, and with no place to truly call home. Outcasts, refugees, unwanted, and mostly despised by those that don't understand us and understand our ways. It has been hard for us.
Wow. Leif, and everyone would give it a bit of a respectful silence and they thank him for the tale and what sort of show sympathy for how things have been for his people and how much difficult it must be, and how maybe it's with mixed emotions. He must be guiding people back to Tarak He'd want to continue to talk a little bit more about sort of reflecting on some of the stories he told, but he'd want to work the conversation around to inquiring about this very powerful artifact, a sword that killed Varama Ver. Are there more legends around that sword?
Yes, there are. I think I don't know them, but others do. I can ask. A very powerful artifact from the olden times, they say.
Again, if you're asking, will not raise questions in others. More information about that would be welcome.
No, my aunts know. I'm sure they know.
Okay, just casual. Yeah. And one other question. So Leif would again want to sort of do a little bit of a... I missed that bit. But at the end of the war with Scarthus, there were several people you named that were involved in the beating the forces of Scarthus in Tarak Nev.
Yes.
It seemed like they came from a very unusual grouping of people, and who were they again, please?
There were allies from many parts of the world. The Thracians sent us some troops. The seas from the south, Vargus and Thibron, sent us troops. Even the Empire of Thamazul and others, they sent us troops. But also great champions came of their own volition, of their own decisions to come. Legends say that an Arab seer from somewhere from the north called Al-Vestar, his name is well known as a good man. These are all good people that came down to fight for our lands. A great magician from Vargus, a man by the name of Magnus, I know his name, and a warrior mage from the Sea of Segesta. They were champions in the hosts that fought against the legions of Scarthus and against the evil forces of Tarak Nev, along with the beautiful winged allies. And he says a word, a strange word, to his companions, and they all talk about it. Yeah, Amarishi, they say. Amarishi. Winged, beautiful winged places. Beautiful winged people, 7 foot tall with wings. And they came and they fought alongside us to free Tarak.
I can't find it in my notes. Was that the name of... I mean, I assume it is the people from the in-between. The winged people from the in-between. Was that the name that we knew knew them by?
I don't know.
Damn, I'll have to look at Leif would... Well, I don't have my information right in front of me. He would just simply say that the warrior mage from the Sarkasta Sea is not Bel Orak, the Magnificent. Well, sorry, Bel Orak, was it? Haven't you?
That name is familiar.
So, yeah, Leif will be looking... So that's a spark in Leif's eye right there. That's the guy who's responsible for the wish magic that Leif's always whistling on about. Also, to have a little bit of his location confirmed that he was actually there is quite exciting for Leif. Oh, thank you. There might well be other questions, but I can't think of them right now. Can we put them in the chat later on?
All right.
And that goes with anyone, from anyone, right? Anything that occurs to anyone about travel hour things we need to prepare for, or if Graham does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else from anybody else? Anything from Demos? Any questions? Who does speak the language? Anything from Neathanol? Karios has left us, I think. Yes, she has. Anybody else? Any other questions from anybody else? Nope. Okay. After several hours of speaking with your Nereti guides, they seem very earnest, by the way, and very extremely deferential. After some time of chatting for a little bit more, they absolutely, you are the masters. You're getting that very strong impression. After a time, Pashkat turns to all of you and asks, if there's nothing more, masters, I will go and speak and make arrangements as needed. I will put in the request to speak to Old Man Tilia for you to meet with him tomorrow. And we can speak to Myrna to begin the travel process happening in a few short days.
Very good. Sorry, I've already thought of one thing that they would have wanted to just gently seek more information on. You know, this tale of wonder, this tale of his history, of his people. He wants to take an interest, but there are some things that he is just questioning a little bit. Varama there was returned from the dead.
Yes.
Sounds like the right of ours to Leif. He is wanting to see if there are more, if there's any more information about that folklore, anything, any unusual information that comes that's just known of that.
What does he ask particularly, Pete?
But basically, any stories around the way in which that happened, any legend, any that's an amazing thing to. So someone coming back from the dead is quite an amazing thing to have happened to achieve. In his opinion, but no, I mean, and in that case, of course, a very not a good event, as she was so evil. But yeah, basically, any more information about it, in the way in which it was done, or was that because of her evilness, or was that because of where they were, or was there a particular item, or how does someone do that?
Legend doesn't tell us much other than some hideous dark ritual from the ancients, and they say her father might have returned with her as well. But that is all I know, and he turns and looks at Cicely and Tahoe. They kind of shake their heads.
So,
no.
More time to question them, I suppose, on the road. But if anything occurs, that's thank you. He'll definitely leave that go at that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else from anybody else?
I guess also maybe Etienne would probably question the that machine that they spoke of, some kind of like big mechanical thing. Was there any other stories or histories that they had with that? Anything you'd heard of?
It had a name, the Elden Flayer. Some suit of metal animated by some terrible spirit, multi-blades, and guards something important on Tarak Nev, but more than that, I do not know. Older than Tarak Nev, much, much older than Tarak Nev. Going back to the old times. But yes, the name Elden Flayer is familiar. Yes? And he turns to the other two and they both nod. Yep, I've heard that.
That's a good question. Also, they could also just say in the course of their, between now and then, if they could provide us with any other information about the city, state of the city now, and any other landmark, any other information about actually what's in the city, so that once we get there, we have a bit more of an idea of places like that. Thank you.
Oh yes, you should have said earlier. So this is the Tradeway Passage down here. The Red Gate is here. The docks are to the north. There's the ancient arena, which is here. There's the temple district here. and the palaces and the temples here. The noble houses are here, and there are all manner of different buildings and holy sites on the archipelago. We can tell you more as we travel, but yes, this might be helpful. It is a large city. Was a large city.
Yeah, Rafe will thank him, and do we get, have we got copies of maps and things for us to use?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. And will they be posted in the chat?
We cannot take them with us. They'll get destroyed in the swamp, but I can certainly leave them here with you and collect them tomorrow morning.
That would be brilliant. I mean, we can take the time to study them. Thank you very much. Is there anything else that they feel that we ought to know? Anything else they have? The leading question. Obviously, we could have missed this.
On the roads, we will tell you more about Orgiana and our gods. That information might be of use to you when you reach the Dead City.
For me.
What's that?
That's it for me. Leif, Leif would be very grateful to them. And speaking for himself, from within, and I believe sort of probably the rest of the party, he would try to encourage them to. He knows that this is the way, that this is the relationship that they're used to. We're from a different part of the world. We're not used to having people calling us master. We prefer to be treated as more as equals.
Yes, master.
Please never hesitate to speak your mind to us.
Yes, master. One thing is perhaps beginning to dawn on you that coming second in whatever strange competition was going on Jewel Island was still a pretty impressive thing to gain. All of that food, all of that organization, all of these maps, all of the guides, all of the contacts, it is no
Devil.
and not to mention the thousands of gold worth of travel that you have already used. It was not a small gift.
Indeed. No, very grateful.
With that, unless there's anything else, Pash gets to his feet. I will do as you have bid, masters, and I hope to see you on the morrow to take you to Old Man Tilia. I will tell him that yes, you are interested in taking part in the ritual, most likely.
Would be good to have an indication of price, but yes, we're going there. We believe that the more information is better.
Just quietly, and it's actually Sisley who says this. You really get the impression he doesn't like Old Man Tilia very much. You may want to probe him on price a little bit. He's had a very good year this year with 2 other parties either gone before you or in the process of going. So he might be a little bit more willing to negotiate. Just a thought. And with that, Silsey kind of smirks a bit to himself.
Faith would be Leif would have a little wry grin, but would acknowledge a very wise piece of advice. We're grateful to you. Yes, and Leif would reiterate that discretion in our travel through the city to meet MacLeod would be much appreciated. I'm sure you understand.
We shall avoid the Roldannic Church as we travel. With that, Masters, we will see you tomorrow morning. And with that, they get to their feet, they bow, they collect up. Oh, do they leave the maps, or keep the maps, or leave the maps?
Absolutely leave the maps, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until tomorrow. And they leave, they bow and leave. What do you do?
Well, I guess study the maps.
Yeah.
Whoever has a good hand and a pen and some paper, maybe copy them so we've got our own version of the maps.
For what it's worth, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, probably would deteriorate in the swamp.
Yeah.
But yeah. At least, well, yeah. So who's got a good memory?
I feel like Nathaniel does. Gray will talk to his healthy bird.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And you don't mean Karios.
Maybe both.
Excellent. So, would he have done this actually on the day when? So that I should have mentioned the bird later when you brought it back. That day it was flying around. Would you have done it then? Would you have done it earlier or on this day? Your call.
He probably would have done it earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is flying around. It's quite skittish of him. It's now flying around the house, and promptly pooping on lots of things. It seems to be pretty nervous of him.
Okay. Great. He'd cast his little spell to talk to it.
Okay, give me a roll, please.
56.
56. Now, could you read out the description of the spell, please?
Yes. Allows caster to understand and speak the language of any one animal species.
Okay. And you've already cast it on Wingy, so you can speak with birds. Very happy to say, Gray, that spell was successful. What do you say?
He would say, "Hello, bird. I don't mean you any harm. You don't have to be afraid." And he would ask it, "What happened to it? What happened to you, bird? Why? What hurt you?"
It's a great chat.
Oh, okay.
See that for some reason.
Oh, really? Shouldn't be able to
Didn't that happen last time? Wasn't that
Yeah.
the hiding thing on?
You shouldn't be able to see that.
Oh.
How can you see that?
It's sorry, it popped up as a wee message.
Strange.
Oh, I've got Gray's channel.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. Because I haven't put it secret. Hang on. Let me just do this.
You don't want to see the bird secrets.
Yeah, you don't. Permission.
I think I also have got Gray's channel, but I've averted my eyes.
That's all right. Players. There we go. Delete permissions. Okay,
Yep,
you now don't have it.
correct.
Sorry, guys.
But Gray, you do have it, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What do you say? What do you say back, if anything?
He says, "Hello, small thing. I mean no harm to you. Um, he would say that again. No harm to you, bird. I am friend. He would ask, I want to help you. I want to help you. What hurts you, bird?
So there's lots of tweeting and cheeping going on while this is happening.
I think maybe this bird was just a hurt bird, and he might just let it go because it just doesn't seem to hold any interesting secrets. So, yeah, I'd say, okay, he flew and hit hard air. That happens to the best of us, bird. I will open a window for you, and he'd point, and he'd open a window.
Okay.
The air is out there, and he'd point. And let it go.
So is he doing this out loud? I just asked.
Yeah, I don't know. When he speaks bird, do they just hear him tweeting?
You tell me.
I feel like they do.
Okay.
So they probably have no idea what's going on.
Probably.
Just tweet. Yeah. So he'd let the bird go. The bird flies away, and he would just report back to the guys that the bird was just a bird. To his knowledge. And he'd wave goodbye. Yeah. And that's the end of that saga.
Okay. Anything else?
I think it would just be cleaning up the poo. Bird pooed everywhere, and yeah,
Okay.
getting ready for tomorrow.
Leif will ask what hurt the bird.
It flew into some hard air, which I imagine is glass. Could have been some kind of wall, I don't know.
Or a spell.
Could have been.
Why would there be a spell there?
Maybe we should investigate. Was very scared.
Like you say, that's sort of the nature of birds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mightn't hurt the Grey to go in Grey because not as recognized as the rest of the show party. Would Grey mind going and investigating a little bit more around that area?
No, he would be very.
Sorry, not meaning to task you with anything, but just
No. He'd go investigate and maybe go have a sniff.
Okay.
See if he can spot anything.
Okay. What do you do? Please, Gray.
He'd head out to where he found the bed and just have a look, do some percepting and some sniffing. See what he can. He's hoping to kind of see anything suspicious, anything that, yeah. He's looking to see if the bird did indeed fly into some glass. Maybe there's some broken glass.
Okay, give me a roll, please.
32.
32. Could be very good, could be very bad. And
Plus 38.
38. Yes, Claret does discover something. There's no more strudel.
No.
No, look, he has a good look around. A number of the market stalls have gone. The festivities are somewhat over for the morning because, of course, we're backdating to a day or so previously. He doesn't see anything out of the ordinary. He doesn't see anybody doing anything unusually. There's no broken glass that he can see. It appears fine.
Okay. Well, yep. He'd walk back feeling sad that there's no strudel.
Okay. Excellent. And we're now going to jump forward to time, to just after the guides left. And I think, if it's okay with everybody, going on for nearly 10 o'clock, and also Alex is having some technical difficulties, if we wrap it up there and begin bright and early, the very next day, which it will be the... Oops. Will be the 4th to go and visit Old Man Tilia and see what delights he has in store. Okay, to leave it there, guys. No other actions from anybody else? Nope. Okay, I'm getting shakes ahead.
That's all good.
Excellent. Roll credits. There we go, guys.
Emma, I just realised he could have used another spell he's got called Animal Empathy, where he can understand and visualise the thoughts and emotions of any one animal. He might have been able to see what happened.
Nice.
Next time.
Next time.
Slightly above his level. It's level 8.
So, not trying to foreshadow too much or anything, but there have been a few reasonably quiet sessions, gentle sessions without a lot of bloodshed and horror and violence. Enjoy it while it lasts, folks. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Surely nothing will happen on the way to this dead city filled with dead monsters.
What's dead? There's nothing there.
Yeah,
Doesn't
exactly.
It's a peaceful trek.
I did.